Hello, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by. This week's photograph is of a person during carnivals having a drink while being anonymous. In two ways. They are anonymous because they are wearing a mask, and they're also wearing that mask that represents the anonymous activist hackers group, the hacktivist group Anonymous. It's great, you know, in carnival you can wear a mask and have a fantastic time, make a complete idiot of yourself, and nobody knows who you are. Luckily, fingers crossed. A lot of people ask me why I live here in Vitoria-Gasteiz, and it's actually quite an interesting story because I live here so that I can be anonymous. Many years ago, a long time ago, I started writing science fiction books, and something really curious happened with the first book. I was about to sign the contract to publish the book, and a second publishing house from Asia, I don't know how they had seen the English manuscript of my first book, asked me to sign a contract to publish my book in Japan and Korea too. One of the reasons maybe is because part of the story is based in Korea. And so before I signed the contract to publish the book in English, I signed a contract to publish the book in Korean and Japanese. And incredibly, it was an extremely successful book. I am a best-selling author in Korea and Japan and in other Asian countries. And so I decided to not publish any of my books in English or in Spanish or in French or in any European language so that I could stay anonymous. And now I have this fantastic, wonderful thing. I just live here, work as an English teacher, and I am rich, I am famous in a different part of the world, and at the same time I'm completely anonymous where I live. It's wonderful. Now I hope you didn't believe any of that story because obviously it's complete rubbish. I made that up. But it's inspired in a story I heard once about, I think the actor was Rowan Atkinson, the guy who portrayed Mr. Bean. And for years, Mr. Bean was never shown on Italian TV because that's where he liked going on his holidays and he wanted to stay anonymous. Brilliant. Nowadays, Rowan Atkinson is famous all around the world, and I think also in Italy. But hey, for a few years, he was able to enjoy his holidays in Italy and be anonymous. So why do people want to stay anonymous sometimes? Why do they want to stay out of the public eye? How can you be successful, powerful, and influential if you are anonymous? Let's find out more. Oh, bugger. Shit, those are Japanese tourists. Hang on a minute. I'm going to look this way. Let's hope they pass. Have they passed? Have they gone? Yeah. Whew. Slight inconvenience with being successful and rich and famous in Japan.
Right now, the creator of a multi-billion-dollar financial system is just walking around completely unnoticed.
Yeah, it's wild to think about.
Right. In a world that's, totally obsessed with building personal brands, the two most influential figures of our century, Banksy and Satoshi Nakamoto, they just don't officially exist. Welcome to today's Deep Dives, where we're looking at this crazy paradox, how erasing your identity can actually make your voice incredibly loud.
Well, it amplifies your voice if the underlying work is actually revolutionary.
Yeah, otherwise you're just like a nameless person shouting into the void.
Exactly. But when the work has real substance, anonymity forces society to focus strictly on the output. We saw this back in the 18th century.
Oh, right, like when the Federalist Papers were collectively signed as Publius.
Yeah, or even today with the hacktivist group Anonymous. By stripping away the ego, the action just has to stand totally on its own.
It acts almost like a magnifying glass. You
Yeah.
know? By removing the creator, you strip away all our built-in biases about like class or background or personality.
And the sunlight focuses entirely on the work itself, which is exactly what happened with Banksy in the 1990s Bristol graffiti scene.
Right, because wearing a mask started as a totally practical shield to avoid getting arrested. I mean, graffiti is illegal.
True, but that secrecy rapidly transformed into the core message.
It's kind of like a magician. If you don't know who is performing the trick, the magic itself just feels bigger and, well, more impossible. But who actually is he?
See, the absence of a traditional artist persona created this enduring myth. It proved that the cultural impact of the art mattered far more than who was holding the spray can.
In a modern surveillance era, though, I mean, the idea of one guy in a hoodie remaining unseen for decades feels mathematically impossible.
Oh, highly unlikely.
It seems way more likely we're looking at a collaborative network rather than just a lone wolf.
You're probably right, though. The evidence strongly points to at least a central figure orchestrating things.
Like that big Reuters investigation?
Yeah, they utilize geographic profiling. It's the same technique used to track serial criminals.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and they mapped Banksy's artwork locations directly to the movements of a Bristol-born artist named Robin Gunningham. His geographic footprint and physical movements align perfectly with the genesis of the Banksy myth.
That's fascinating. But, you know, Banksy proved that taking the creator out of the equation forces us to focus solely on the art. Taking that exact same mechanism and applying it to global finance is a completely different animal.
Trusting a faceless artist is one thing, but trusting faceless money is a massive leap.
A leap the world was apparently ready to take, right?
Clearly. In 2008, Satoshi Nakamoto published the Bitcoin white paper and finally solved the double spending problem.
Which meant instead of relying on a centralized clearinghouse or a bank to prevent fraud, Nakamoto shifted the burden of trust entirely to a decentralized network.
Exactly, to cryptographic consensus, the blockchain.
And just like the geographic footprint left by Banksy, Nakamoto left a cryptographic footprint.
Yeah, a New York Times investigation made a pretty compelling case for British cryptographer Adam Back being Satoshi.
Because Bank invented Hashcash, right? A mechanism that literally laid the groundwork for Bitcoin's proof-of-work system.
The technical overlap is undeniable. Back denies it, of course.
Well, sure, but the structural similarities between Hashcash and Bitcoin's architecture are striking.
Absolutely. Whether Nakamoto is back, or maybe a collective of programmers, or someone else entirely, they launched a self-sustaining financial network and then, in 2011, simply vanished.
See, I think the motivation for vanishing diverged completely right there. Banksy hides to maintain a cultural myth, but doesn't Satoshi have to hide because of the money?
Oh yeah, sheer survival. The financial stakes made anonymity mandatory.
Because he mined so much of it early on.
Right. It's widely estimated Nakamoto mined roughly 1 million bitcoins. Today we are talking about a massive multi-billion-dollar fortune.
So unmasking would mean immediate scrutiny from the SEC and tax authorities worldwide.
The wealth itself became a liability that demanded absolute silence. Unmasking would just be a disaster for them.
So both legends prove anonymity is a deliberate tool, not just a shield.
The mystery immortalized them. It turned human beings into bulletproof concepts.
Think about your own digital footprint for a second. Every post you make, every transaction you swipe, it's tracked, logged, and monetized. Which leaves you with a pretty wild final thought to ponder today. As we move deeper into an era of advanced AI, facial recognition on every corner, and inescapable biometric tracking, is true anonymity going extinct?
That really is the ultimate question.
Will society ever be capable of producing another Banksy or Satoshi again? Or is the era of the invisible revolutionary officially over?
Chat about these questions and write down your opinions and ideas. 1. Describe the picture in as much detail as possible. Have you ever been anonymous? For example, in Carnival. 2. Can anonymity increase the impact of an idea by moving attention away from the individual? 3. Are anonymous creators and activists more free to challenge power than those who are publicly known? 4. Does knowing the identity of a creator change how we value their work, music, art, literature? 5. Would you prefer to be rich and famous, rich and anonymous, or rich and famous but also anonymous?